Hey crafty people, welcome back to my channel, and in case you're new here, I'm Sarah, also known as Craft Nerd because I'm a nerd who loves to craft. I do paper crafting, card making, junk journaling, and mixed media art. Let's get crafting! Okay, so I'm in the home stretch on the bee journals, and I'm actually filming this ahead so the little tabs are marking off what needs to still be done, but by the time this video airs, that stuff will all be done. And what I want to do is I want to create some journal toppers for the soft covered journals that will incorporate closures. And I think I need to trim these pieces I have down a little bit. And what I have here is, this is the box my dog's meds come in. So I basically just pulled it open, cut it apart, and I have the bottom piece and the top piece for these boxes. And then I stripped off the top layer of cardboard to get to the corrugation. So you may notice that this is a slightly smaller corrugation than you usually see with like your Amazon boxes because it's for the smaller boxes. So I think what I want to do is start by cutting these down smaller because they are, what are they? They are 6 by, that one's almost 6.5, and that one's 6 by 6. And my covers are roughly 6 by 9. So I think I'm gonna cut them down to 5 by 6 for this one. And actually I wanna sliver off a little on this side. If I was paying attention, I would have, yeah. It's a little under 5. All right, we're gonna go 5 7/8. So that, because what I'm going to do is I'm gonna put a piece of, because yeah, this one has my address on it, a piece of comic book board on the back here to cover that up and also to decorate. And then this one is, which way is that? All right, so we're gonna lop this bit off, cut this down to 5, and straighten this up on either side. Oh. This one's more like 5 3/4 by 5. And the bigger 2 pieces I'll probably save. I can use those to make something with, but the smaller pieces, I'm gonna allow myself to throw those out. So what I want to do now is I want to add a little color. So I've got some yellow paint. Doesn't matter, whatever yellow paint you have is fine. And a small brayer, and I'm just gonna put some paint on a plate. And kind of haphazardly, gently brayer on some yellow paint. And I'll wipe that off. So some of the spots I didn't peel up the top layer as well. I've got more white, so I'll try and get those covered a little bit better. I think that's good. I'm also gonna grab, which I forgot to get, some black because the insides of my journal covers have black on them. So just to add a little bit of contrast in there, I'm gonna get a little black paint going on. And I think I'm gonna wipe off my brayer and come back in and do a little bit more yellow over top. So I'm gonna leave these to dry completely before I do anything else to them, and I'll be back. Okay, So the corrugated cardboard piece is all dry, and I've pulled out some stuff for creating our journal topper, and I actually did one off camera just to kind of test stuff out, and let me pull that over and show you. So this is pretty much where we're going with this journal topper as well. We're going to do something similar. And then there's the back, because I think the back of the journal topper should also be pretty. I know this is not as pretty as one would like, but I'm not too bothered by that, since that is the front. So I've got one done. So what I've done so far is I have pieces of printable, and I will leave it listed down below. I think it might be Giggle Glitter GFX. I cut a piece of comic book board down to the same size as this piece, which is a little short. It's about 6 inches high and a little short of 5 inches wide. This one's a little bit wider. So I've gone ahead and cut my comic book board. This piece is big enough to be attached to it. It's not going to wrap around completely. So I think what I may do is just shift it over to the one side and wrap the one edge over, because there's definitely not enough to kind of like wrap it over on both sides. So we're going to start by just attaching our comic book board to our pretty paper. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip off the corners, and then we're going to wrap around on all of the sides. That is not. All right, let's see if we can get that up, because I did not do a good job of folding that over. All right, that's as good as that's getting. And then let's wrap this up. Which, that was what I should have done on this side, is tip it up onto my desk to help wrap it around so that I'm sure it's snug. So that's gonna be like that. I'm gonna go along here and just trim off any excess, because there's a little bit of extra hanging over. And we're gonna ink our edges so that you won't be able to tell that one side's wrapped and the other isn't. So this is going to be the back piece, and this is our front piece. So let's work on our front piece first. Now I had taken out, this is some leftover fabric from the covers that I was making, and I had planned on cutting it narrower because I wanted to have cut 2 of these strips out of it and folded it and then cut it the wrong way. So we are going to see if we like it where we're just doing maybe a little piece here. Maybe this time we double it up, and so we end up having it pretty on both sides. Maybe that's the way we go with this. Let's see, let's start laying our stuff out and see how we like that. This is some meshy, ooh, apparently I cut this stuff's this thickness, cut a piece to go with this. This one's apparently a little bit shorter, and then cut it in half. So yeah, we're gonna be modifying all over the place here today. So let's see. Now this piece is the comic book board hexagons that I cut out of the stained glass bee journal cover. And then I had a piece of paper that I had cleaned off my PM Artist Studios Bumblebee stencils on. So I had a bunch of bee images on it. And so I was like, you know what? Instead of tossing the comic book board pieces that I cut out in a hexagon shape, let's glue them on and create these little comic book board hexagon pieces. And then I was like, oh, let's go ahead and use them on the covers. All right, so we're gonna do that. Then I've got this piece, which is a printable by Liana Scraps, and I think I'm gonna stick that on top. And then one of the faux flowers from my stash. Now it is way too big, so we're just gonna do some deconstruction. So I'm gonna pull off the back piece. There's some stuff on there that's making this difficult. All right, I am gonna pull off some of my petals. I'm gonna go there, I think, and take those off, and I'll set those aside. And then that is probably gonna be where we go, but you know what we're gonna do first is we're gonna take this apart further, because we're gonna cut off the stem all the way. So let's see, does this work? That's too big still. All right, we're gonna take another layer off. And I'm gonna take, I've got some wire, heavy duty wire cutters, and we're gonna cut off this piece because it's gonna cause problems. And so we're gonna cut it down as close as we can get. And I think I may grab a pair of, let's see if my Tim Holtz scissors will get a little bit more of this off. Because you wanna take as much of that off as possible. So that's pretty much flat, so that when we glue it down, it will glue down nicely. So yeah, there's we're gonna go with that for our flower. And then I've got, this is 49 and Market chipboard elements. And originally I was thinking, let's put the bee on the center of the flower. And then I realized the legs are super delicate. And if I put them on here, it's not gonna be fully stuck down and will likely lead to subsequent breakage. So we'll probably put it down like here, as I did on this one. All right, so we now need to start putting this part together. Oh, there is one more thing I want to do for the printable bee journal bit here. What I did on this one is, and I don't know how well it's gonna show up, let's see. I embossed it with some clear embossing powder. So that's what I want to do for this piece as well. So let's set all of this off to the side and do that first. And I've got clear embossing ink and a dauber. Let's grab, I had a scrap piece of paper that I was doing this on, and I set it aside, and now I don't know what I did with it. There we go. Mostly because I want to make sure I'm using a clean piece, because otherwise I might transfer ink onto this. Since I knew I was going to be using embossing ink on this, I printed this on a matte photo paper, because otherwise, if I just printed on the usual paper I use, what would happen is the ink would likely bleed when I added the embossing ink to it. And I'm just daubering. If you've never used an ink dauber before and have one, don't squeeze, because you'll blow the top off. And that will just create a mess. And I should have grabbed my embossing powder before I started inking. So this is just clear embossing powder that I've had forever. And I transferred it into a big tub because it was the one that I was using most often. And it's so much easier when you can just hold it over a big tub and ink like that than the little jars it comes in. Now I didn't quite get enough ink over here, but that's okay. What we're gonna do is we're gonna emboss, and then we're gonna come in and add more ink and more powder, because yeah, I need to be able to hold it while embossing. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so there we go. That's that piece all set. Put that out of the way and bring our main piece back. Okay, so let's start with our bottom layer, which is going to be this piece, and let's clean up the rest of this piece because I used my, actually both pieces need cleaning up, but I'm going to trim a little sliver off using my pinking shears. That goes there. I'm not gonna flip that over on screen because my address is on the back. And that goes like that. All right, let's even these guys up. And I'm just gonna do a sliver off the bottom of both of them. Mostly match up, which I'm fine with. So what I'm gonna do is fabric tack to put my first piece on. And then this piece is gonna go like so. So we're just gonna add some fabric tack for putting this piece down. I'm gonna use a little silicone spatula to kind of press it down because it's got lots of holes, so I'm getting glue all over my fingers. Now next up we have this piece which I want to doctor. Now I'll add this off camera by just gluing them together and sandwiching them, but I don't want to show you my address. So I'm gonna set that aside for a sec. I'm gonna pull this piece over, pull over a scrap piece of paper. I'm gonna grab a brush and my Distress Oxide Fossilized Amber and go around in ink. All right, and then I'm gonna go around the edges with some Distress Ink Scorched Timber. That's all set. So let's start getting our layout worked out. So that's gonna go down. That's gonna go there-ish. This piece is gonna go there. So this is gonna go up a little bit higher. It's gonna go on top. So I'm gonna glue this piece down. And I got my fabric tack out, so might as well use that. All right, so for the flower, we're gonna kind of add them a layer at a time, just because I found that that worked out easier. So that's gonna go there, and what I'm gonna do is just add fabric tack to some of the petals. I don't need it all glued down, but I need it down enough that the subsequent layers aren't gonna be sticking up way too far. Now this one's got some pieces that are bent up weird that were like tucked up under this piece. So we're gonna go in and glue them down. And I did it again on this one. I forgot to ink around the edges before adding the fabric, which makes it a little more difficult, but oh well, too late now. All right, and we're gonna glue down our centerpiece. Again, I like that the flower has a little bit of movement. All the petals aren't glued down all the way. And it's just gonna take a little while for that to dry fully. And the only other thing to add on here is our 49 Market laser cut element B that I did not lose. I had it for a second there. I was like, oh no, did I lose it? And I'm gonna use my art glitter glue to attach this. because it's got a more precise tip, and we're gonna go right about there. I got a dog who wants to go out, so let me go let him out. And then we'll do the back piece. Now let's get the back piece together, which is gonna go on like so. So I'm gonna set aside our top piece so I don't accidentally show you my address. And I die cut out of some black cardstock. This is a Tim Holtz Sizzix die. It's Honeycomb. I think that's out. A Honeycomb, and it's one of the steel metal dies that are, this is the die. It's Tim Holtz Alterations. Is from eons ago. So yeah, and its number is 659430. I don't know if it's still available or not, but you might be able to find it like used. So this is gonna go here. I've got another piece from the printable that's gonna go like so. I've got Bees by Giggle Glitter GFX, and this is gonna get turned a little bit because on this one he was facing that away. I'm kind of debating, do I want to shift the whole thing over? Do I want to go like so? Let's see how we like the look of it. I'm feeling no. I think I prefer to have it going like this and have the bee more on the honeycomb going like so than I do shifting it over. I think I like it better going this way. I need a label. Now I also die cut out the piece from another printable, which is from the same set as this. So I think I am gonna stick one in here. Of course, my dog's now barking like a loon, so that's like that. And if I stick him here, it covers that up. That works. And then let's stick one maybe over here. And in here, just to kind of mix things up a little bit. And we're also going to do some embossing with some distressed Fossilized Amber embossing glaze inside to add some more interest. All right, so I'm going to go deal with dogs, and probably off screen I'm going to ink all of my edges, and I'm going to ink him with some Antique Linen Distress ink over top just to knock back the white around his edges, and then I'll be back. All right, we're gonna start gluing down. Now, let's figure out our placement again, because unlike for this one where I could just glue this down and then place around, this piece has got to go down first. So it's gonna go like so. So I think I'll glue that one down, and then we can arrange based on it. I don't remember if I tucked this piece under or not, so I didn't put glue all the way to the edge at the top, because that'll enable me to tuck it under. Just check. No, this one's got the most. Nope, this one's got, I think, the most color. Because, yeah, it's a very subtle, like, honeycomb kind of pattern. You can see it more on there, but with what I cut out, got very pale ones. So we're going to put that one there. Now, I'm going to grab I've got a Distress Ink embossing pen, so I can put Distress Ink just where I want it. So what we're gonna do is add glaze to a few of the hexagons. Grab a piece of paper that I can dump the excess off onto. Now, I don't know how well you can see, but I got a little on the black that I don't necessarily want. So I'm going to take a clean, dry paintbrush and just lightly brush off the excess glaze. And I think I'm going to just go ahead and pick a few more spots that I want to add glaze to and use my embossing pen. I got like a clump on there, so I'm just going to use the paintbrush to kind of bust it up. Closing up my embossing powder because I don't want to emboss it by accident. I'm going to grab my heat gun and emboss. I really am thinking I need to do one of the top ones. And now I'm kind of thinking it needs to be this one. So you know what? I'm going to do it. Yeah, I like that. I'm good with that. Okay, let me grab the journal it's going with to help us with our lace, which is going to serve as our closure. So this piece is going to go on the back. Oh, you know what? Before we do that, let's ink all of our edges. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in on this side and add some ink just in case everything doesn't line up exactly right. We don't have any like white showing. And I'm using Scorched Timber. And I'm going to do it along the edges of the front piece too. So this is going to go like so. We're going to run lace around like so. We're gonna guesstimate cut about there. Then we're gonna even it up. Kind of figure out where we want it. I think that's good. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Fabri-Tac and run it along here to glue down our lace where we want it across the back piece. And we can move this out of the way. And add Fabri-Tac to the whole back. Line this up. Just make sure we're as lined up as we can be. I'm going to grab a couple clamps. Stick one up there. And one down here. And apparently I need another one over here, and to adjust things before we're fully dry, because that's kind of off. There we go. And now you don't see my address anymore, so I'm going to set this aside and let it dry. Now, I had originally planned as part of this video to also do dangles for the side of the journal, but I realized as I started editing that it was going to be too long of a video for me to also do flip throughs of the finished bee journals. So we're gonna stop here with just doing the journal topper. And next week I will do a video showing you how I made some dangles for the journals and do final flip throughs of the finished bee journals. So one more bee video and then we are done with the bee journals. So that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please do all the things that lets YouTube know you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for joining me and happy crafting.